Hi, how are you all today? I hope we're going to be much better after this. Now, we're doing work on the environment and we're looking at energy changes. And so it's very important we have some basic understanding. Now, you'll be given some notes, but this is some help, some extra that would allow us to work with it. Now, you'll notice that I've got sunlight up here. And that's really important because all of the energy in any environment originally comes from here, the sun. The sun provides sunlight, which we call radiant energy. And I'll just put it on the screen for us. And it's R-A-D-I. Now, radiant energy is a mixture of heat and light and anything else that comes from the sun. Okay, so we're looking at all those things and we're looking at how energy moves in the environment as well. And this is what it will be in your test. Okay, so let's go to the basics. Energy comes into all environments on Earth from the sun. Every day the sun provides energy, and every day it keeps going up, and every night some of the energy is released back into space, but some of it is stored in plants and animals, and some of it is stored in the oceans as heat. And we try to store it in the land as well, but it doesn't quite work. Now, this radiant energy I talked about is really spread out. And it's not much use to normal things, but it is useful to plants. Plants are able to use it. We can't. We don't have that green chemical in our system called chlorophyll. Plants do. And it says here that radiant energy is heat and light. And that's the basis of it, and we're just going to leave it at that level. We're not going to go too much more. If you want to, you can always go and search and find out a bit more about what radiant energy is. So, in class you'll have learned about food chains. Now, a chain is linked together, and we can see we use these arrows. Now, in a normal food chain, we don't have this arrow here. Right? We don't have the arrow from the sun to the grass. Right? We just start off with a plant. We go plant to something that eat plants called a herbivore. Then things that eat herbivores, eat other animals, are called carnivores, and this one is also a carnivore. So we see it gives us the idea of predators and prey. Now, predators are the things that do the chasing. So we've got predators, they eat something. And the prey, for those who've forgotten, is what is eaten. Now, with every energy relationship, we are going to talk about how energy moves, and energy moves by eating things. All right, so we've got energy coming in, as we saw, radiant energy comes into here. Here it's changed into chemical energy in the food. The grass, the chemical energy in grass goes into the mouse. Then the chemical energy from the mouse goes into the snake. And the chemical energy from the snake goes into the hawk. And that's how the energy moves. So it's radiant energy in this step, chemical energy in the rest. When we talk about the arrow in a food chain, we normally say that it stands for is eaten by. So in this case, grass is eaten by mouse. Mouse is eaten by snake. Snake is eaten by hawk. Okay? So this is where we go through. But we know, of course, that different predators have different prey. They don't only eat one animal. There is very few predators that only eat one other animal. And so it becomes a situation where we should put all of the food chains together. Now when we do that, we create what's called a food web. But the same ideas apply. We always start off with a plant. We've got the plants here are carrots, grass, grains. So if you like, I'm just going to put them in green. So these are our plants, and they're at the bottom of the food chain, and I like the way it's been drawn, this one. So plants at the bottom. In the middle of the food chain, we have the herbivores. And another name for a herbivore is a consumer. Another name for a carnivore is a consumer as well. But we say these are the first consumer or first order consumers. So all these ones here, including that bird there, I almost missed him, are first order consumers. Now these will always be herbivores. Then obviously as we go up the next step is second order consumers, and it follows on from there. Okay, but the energy flow still goes. So in other words, the energy from the carrot goes to the rabbit, which goes to the fox. The energy from the grasses go to the rabbit, grasshopper. And from the rabbit they go to the fox, from the grasshopper they go to the owls or the birds. The grains, things like wheat and corn and barley and oats, all these things that people grow for grains, they go to, first of all, the first order consumer, the mice, grasshoppers and the birds, and then the second order consumer, the owls, birds, and we've even got a third order consumer if we think about it. We've got this one here that goes grass, grasshopper, there's first order, birds second order, then there's an arrow going to foxes. So that means foxes are a third order in that food chain. They're a second order, 1, 2 in this food chain. Okay, so animals can be different order as they go through. Now it's most important for us to remember certain things, and we have an energy pyramid here, and it sort of says, right, that all the energy down the bottom, there are going to be less animals above it because the plant uses some of its energy to grow. Right? When it's eaten by a herbivore, the herbivore uses some of its energy to grow. And then what happens, before it's eaten by something else, we can't get the 100% transfer each time. So when the primary producer, or the producer or autotrophist, which auto is self, troph is feeder, so when we have this one here, it will use some of its energy to grow. So not all of the energy it takes in is passed on to the next consumer. Now this one, primary consumer or herbivore, not all the energy it takes in from eating grass is passed on to the carnivore, because it will use some of its energy to repair anything that problems it has and to grow. So some of the energy always remains with the animal or plant. Now when these animals or plants die, they come to this side and decomposes. This is like recycling, and all the nutrients go back into the soil and into the environment and then into the plants. So recycling is a good way of thinking about energy, and we have decomposers are special things like that. They can be things like bugs, insects, earthworms, various other things. Fungi helps things decompose as well. So we've got lots of things that help decompose. So there we go. There's, in a nutshell, is how energy moves through our environment.